morning. This is Grassroots Rising. I'm your host, Jimmy Skogard. I'm here today with Mike in Teton County, visiting with Frank Chapman at the Heart 6 Ranch in Moran, Wyoming. How you doing, Mike?
Jimmy, I'm doing well. It's great to be here. You know, it's a pretty special place, and makes you glad to be an American when you get to live here.
Yeah, we've got some awesome scenery right here: mountains, meadows. There's just basically mountains as far as the eye can see. This is a great part of Wyoming. It's really interesting. Mike, it's politics season though. What do we need to fix here in Teton County and Wyoming?
Well, Jimmy, from my perspective, a lot of otherwise well-meaning people have a view that we can approach things in certain ways that if you carry it out to infinity, it's not sustainable. It's whether it be completely unchecked, unmetered immigration to regulating everything to such a degree that people are getting paralyzed. And we have a goose that lays golden eggs here in Teton County, and I'm afraid that we're working really hard to try to slaughter that goose.
So you're referring to the tourism industry here in Teton County? Just the whole quality of life?
What we have as a quality of life here is something that's pretty special, but people seem to be working really hard at ruining that quality of life.
And is that mostly by dividing us one from another, or would you say there's something underlying there?
I don't necessarily know, although I do think that is a problem nationally, attempts to divide us. But people that have very focused views, that they look at things in isolation and not consider what the big picture impacts are of policies that either overregulate things or, in the case of immigration, underregulate things.
Right. So we've got it both extremes, and we bounce back and forth. And right now we're in a cycle that it's trying to correct, I think, for some cases, but maybe there's a little bit of pain that we're going to suffer as we go through that.
Oh, I think there's definitely going to be a bit of pain. But you know, my wife and I are transplants to here, and the thing that I've always admired about Wyoming is the emphasis on self-reliance. That and we our kids are all in their 30s now, and you can ask every single one of them. That was what we always emphasized to them, is that we want to be self-reliant. The last place we turn to for help should be the government.
Right. Yeah, we can't be expecting the government to help us out. You know, in Wyoming, I have this saying, you know, if we need something, we build it. You know, and that's been my philosophy throughout my life, is like, if I need something, I'm just going to go build it, make it happen. And lately, I saw a lot of division, a lot of fear, a little bit of outrage, and these media bubbles and algorithms. And I'm like, what is going on with that? Why do we need that in Wyoming? I think we need good conservative values here in Wyoming, where if a neighbor needs a hand, we go give them a hand. I mean, that's how it's always been. I don't think it changes that much. I was down in Basin the other day visiting with my brother-in-law, and they had a problem with the irrigation, and the neighbors were having problems with the irrigation getting plugged up. So they went in and they all kind of pitched in and built a new routing for the water, and put some filters and screens in and some valves, and you know, and they all worked together. I think there was maybe about a half a dozen of them that all pitched in to get this problem fixed. I'm like, that's Wyoming right there. You know, we don't need a government, a movement from the county commissioners to fix an irrigation ditch or something like that. We just, when we need something done, we just get it done.
Yeah, and that is how things, 100% how things should be. And you know, we're originally from the East Coast, and for such a large swath of people, immediately where they turn turn to is to the government, expecting the government's going to solve all their problems. Yeah, and the classic. I'm from the government, and I'm here to help.
Yeah, and it's not efficient, and a lot of times it doesn't work, and it just creates fights and division. Diverts resources. Somebody's always going to have a problem with somebody else diverting their resources, because that's government, right? It's whoever's in charge of the resources and who gets to direct the flow of the resources. So we need to keep that as small as possible.
For sure. From a federal government standpoint, it only has a few critical roles. Provide for the national defense being number one, and in a lot of other cases, I think we've distorted states' rights. We send all of our money to Washington, and they use the flow of that money to overcome their lack of control in certain areas that really should be under the state's control, but instead they say, you're not going to get that highway money unless you do the following.
Yeah, and you're bringing a point that's kind of central to my campaign, and it's the Constitution and rule of law, and specifically, the 10th Amendment to the Constitution, the one you were just talking about.
Absolutely, the 10th Amendment.
And, those powers that we didn't give to the federal government, they belong to the state and to the people. And we need to make sure that we enforce that.
But they get around it by saying, yeah, we know we can't make you do that, but we won't give you this education money, we won't give you this highway money unless you do the following things.
I'm gonna interrupt just briefly, Mike, and say when I try to stay away from they, because this is our country.
That is true.
And I'm going to say it's we, and when we make a decision, when we make our decisions in the election, this 2026 election, we are the ones sending the message to Washington.
Correct.
And if we want change, then we need to send that message.
Yeah.
And we need to find those senators, those representatives, those House reps, those county commissioners that understand that we want to express our opinions and be heard in between elections too. And we need to step up a little bit. I think that's a little bit lacking right now, but I think we're moving in the right direction, and we have the technology to do so now, Mike. Anyway, I'd like to thank you. Any closing thoughts before we go?
No, but I appreciate the opportunity, Jimmy. It's nothing better than being able to talk about this country we love in a place that pretty much says it all about where we live.
Thank you very much, Mike. This is Jimmy in Moran, Wyoming, with Mike in the Grand Tetons, and it's been nice talking with you folks today, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.